letting go is freedom, and freedom is a key to your happiness. But I understand the struggle of getting over someone. I understand that you may have been trying for a long time right now to let this man go, to get over being with him, but it's still haunting you. It's still sticking with you, and you're struggling to move forward. Now, I want you to understand you should not beat yourself up about this, because this is normal. This is typical, so to speak. So many people go through this in their relationships, men and women. But I'm focused on helping you as a woman learn how to get over him by understanding why you're struggling to. Understanding what is the root issue that needs to be addressed and resolved so that you can achieve that freedom. So the number one thing you have to understand as to why you're not getting over him is because you haven't let go of the fantasy and face your reality. Now, what I mean by that, there's a couple angles to explore here. One, it's the fantasy of who you wanted him to be or believed he would be. Now, I completely understand that there are going to be relationships where a man presents himself one way and turns out another way, all right? And I'm not going to sit here and say that no man has not ever fooled a woman with coming out with his representative. I will say, and I feel the need that I have to say, that in many cases, in most cases, if not damn near all, you saw something. You sensed something, you felt something. But the blockage then is the same blockage now. And that blockage was you holding on to what you wanted to believe it was. Now, again, I know some of this is going to hurt, and it is hurting you right now to hear this. But I say this to you with love and with the desire to break you free from that bondage that you've been dealing with this whole time. All right. And so, yes, believing he could be something else, all those days and nights that you dreamed of what the relationship can turn into and become, that has created an unhealthy attachment to this man. And you're still holding on to that hope. You're still holding on to that belief. Part of what feeds that belief as well is the fact that there were many good times in the relationship. Like, it's very rare to find a situation where someone was in a relationship and there were no good times whatsoever. If there were no good times, most people would not remain. People get stuck or struggle to let go because they weigh those good moments against the bad. But the reality is that in most situations, at least in the ones where this was a man who was not truly for you, there tends to be more bad than good. And I have to say, even if there was more good than bad, if at the core of it, he was not best for you, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't change the fact that he had to be let go of. But again, your struggle to move forward is because you're thinking about the good so much. And it's not that I want you to simply dismiss the good that did exist, but I want you to remind yourself of the reasons why you had to let go in the first place. Not to dwell in negative thought. And I damn sure don't want you creating a false narrative in order to make it easier for you to move on. Because I see this issue where some women will be with a man, and let's just say in this example, he wasn't the worst man. He wasn't a bad guy. He was actually a good guy. But her heart wasn't really into the situation. And eventually she couldn't take it anymore and she lets go. But in order to make it easier for her to stay away and to validate her decision, she now creates this false negative narrative of that man and tries to nitpick the things that he may have gotten wrong or mistakes he may have made to say, hey, you see, he was a bad guy. Or you see, he didn't have good intentions. I don't want you to do that because that's unhealthy. And if you're not acknowledging the truth, because though we are, it's basically doing the same mistake that we talked about. It's holding on to a fantasy, not a reality. But in this case, it's creating a false nightmare rather than accepting reality. I don't want you holding on to anything fake in your head. And I don't want you to hold on to anything that doesn't paint the full picture, all right? So essentially, I don't want you to just dwell on the good times because then you forget why you were supposed to walk away. And I don't want you creating bad times, but I do want you to acknowledge the bad. I do want you to acknowledge the truth of the situation. And I do want you to understand that you don't need good or bad to validate what you did or what you needed to do. What you need is to know that in your spirit, you do not belong there. And if you do not, let go and move forward in peace. But when you understand the reasons for your struggle, and I have more that I'm going to list out, then you can start to address those reasons in a way that will now give you more strength to release and to truly overcome all of this. Which brings me to the second reason why you struggle to let him go or struggle to get over him, is because you've invested so much time and energy into this man, all right? So one thing I've learned is that especially for women, it's very difficult to get over a man or a relationship when you have invested so much into it. The sacrifices that you made and what you hoped you would get a return on that investment, and when it doesn't come to fruition, that's a very tough pill to swallow. And the struggle to let go stems from wanting that return, wanting the fruits of your labor, wanting to see that all of that work, energy, and time wasn't in vain. And so now you become unhealthily attached to that investment. And that's why it's extremely important as you move forward in other relationships, or for those of you who are currently in a relationship, you've got to make sure that when you do for your partner or when you do in a situation, you are not, it's done out of a genuine love. It's done out of what you are comfortable doing. It's done with a true peace in your heart. Because if it's done simply looking for a specific return, that is the slippery slope that can throw everything off. All right. And so you've got to be mindful of that. So to give a more specific example, if you were dating a man and you were hoping for him to fully commit to you, all right, and let's just say getting in an official relationship, because sometimes getting over him isn't a guy that you were in an official relationship with. It could have been a situationship that you spent a lot of time in. But either way, let's say you thought, okay, I'm going to do all these wifey duties. I'm going to cook for him. I'm going to be there for him. I don't know why I feel the need to say, I'm going to write his resume. I hear that I get so much, I have to mention it. I'm going to be his rock. I'm going to make sure he has everything he needs. But you're doing it with the hopes that he will see your value and then commit to you. And now when he drags you along for months, maybe even years, and then it comes to an end and you never get that commitment, the reality is that your struggle to get over him isn't about him as a man. Because him as a man throughout that whole situation, he wasn't pouring into you, truly, not consistently at least. He wasn't the man you needed. He wasn't truly making you happy. But you got so caught up in trying to get a return on what you gave that now your regret, your hurt, your struggle is because, dang, I never got my money's worth, so to speak. All right? And I don't want to feel stupid about how much I tried with this man. And not just the investment in what you did. Hell, it might be the investment in how much you tried to convince people around you that this was good for you, even though it wasn't. It might be the emotional investment you made in trying to convince yourself. And you don't want to face that reality. But again, understand and differentiate between, is your struggle getting over him, or is the struggle getting over all that you did for him? And that, again, you didn't feel like he properly repaid you for your efforts, so to speak. He did not honor your efforts. He did not respect your value. When you start to understand that difference, it helps to break you free. Because again, now you realize it's not him. And the problem is when you attach it to him, rather than separate the issues, you now fool yourself into believing you are still in love with him. You fool yourself into believing that he might be the guy because you feel some kind of way about the situation. But again, it's not him. It's all that you did for him. So the investment creates, and all these things I'm listing for you, they all contribute to creating unhealthy attachments. And that's what happens in a lot of situations. And I have to mention, listen, because not every situation of you not getting over him is about unhealthy attachment. Wait till the last point and I will explain more. But getting back to the main point here, yes, that investment you have to be mindful of. And also, this is another reason why, for those of you who are in the dating phase or early in the relationship, once you sense as a woman that this is not the man for you, you've got to cut him loose as soon as possible. Because the longer you let him linger, the longer you stay in this situation, the stronger the attachment becomes. Because again, as time goes by, the more you invest emotionally, physically, hell, sometimes financially, all right? More is going to occur, more is going to be piled on that's only going to cause a bigger struggle for you. So you've got to be quick to recognize when this is not for you and release it before matters gets worse. All right, so let's keep this moving. And now the third reason why you can't get over him is because you're afraid to start all over. And real quick, be sure to subscribe to this channel and like this video. I appreciate your support. But back to number 3. You're afraid to start over. I made sure I use the word officially start over. Because again, many of you have broken up with this man. Whether you pulled the trigger or he did, you are no longer with him. And you may actually be kind of dating, right? Like one foot in the door, one foot out. But the reason why I'm using the word officially start over is because emotionally and mentally, you haven't fully embraced letting that situation go. And so you're not really emotionally available for anyone else. You may be physically dating people. You may be on the surface seeming like you moved on. But deep from within, you are still attached, all right? And because of this, your ability to actually have a real relationship is slim to none. And so that's why you haven't officially embraced starting over. You haven't officially embraced getting to know someone new and being fully present in that process, all right? And there's a part of you that may still be hoping that things will change with this ex. Again, you may be still holding on to the fantasy, not the reality of the situation, not the reality that he is not best for you, not the reality that maybe it's just about the timing is not right. Whatever it is, you've got to embrace restarting the process. And I know this is tough for everybody. No, especially, and again, I have to highlight this point, especially when you have spent the last few years in this situation. Again, it becomes harder to get back out there when you just got out of a year-long or years-long situation or relationship, all right? And that's why I stress so much in this video and other videos, we've got to learn to cut people off fast. I'm not trying to sound insensitive. I'm not trying to be unreasonable. What I'm saying is it doesn't take us long to recognize when something is wrong, when that person is not for us, when this is just not really going to truly work. We've got to accept that rather than rationalize past it, because again, all we do is make the situation messy, all right? And now, again, because we spend so much time with them, we don't want to go through it all over again. We don't want to have to deal with someone new. We don't want to have to go through the long talks and the dates just to hope it will work out, because the reality is that you might have to go through 10 more. Don't get scared by the number 10. I just threw it out there, all right? But you might have to go to 10 more situations. And if we do it the right way, it won't be 10 more situations of months or year-long dynamics before you recognize this person isn't for you. When you hone your skills and we can make those next 10 weeks long, maybe, days long, maybe, it becomes so much easier to keep the process going. But either way, the point here is to highlight the fear of starting over keeps you attached to that individual, keeps you attached to that man, and causes you to struggle to get over him. So again, You've got to recognize that for what it is and understand what's really driving your struggle so that you can address that issue. And now we can talk about how you can be more at peace with starting over, how you can better equip yourself in starting over, but know when that's the issue rather than the man himself. Now, before I get to the next point, actually, let me mention this. You also have to understand that not accepting letting this person go, not accepting starting all over, not accepting that you got to come to peace with the investment that you made and you're not going to get what you hoped out of it, is only going to block your blessings from receiving that person who's truly for you. It's only going to get in the way of your true happiness and peace. So getting to that point of resolving these issues, again, because I don't want to just say get over him. You know, how many times has someone who's been hurting been told, well, just get over them, forget about them, they're not good? That doesn't really work. And that's why I do a video like this, because I feel that when we address the true root issues, now we can truly set ourselves free, all right? But understand that, yes, this is necessary for you to have what's truly best for you and that amazing relationship that you truly desire and deserve. All right, so now we're at the fourth reason why you can't get over him is because you developed a sexual attachment to this man. So listen, we're not going to get into whether you should have had sex or not or whatever, right? This is the reality is you did. All right, for those of you who this applies to, you had sex. And I have to say this, it may have been good and it may have been not that good. Now, the reason why I have to throw in the not that good part is because sexual attachment isn't simply about the sex was great, all right? I have sat down with tons of women who struggle to let go of a man who they can acknowledge completely that he did not satisfy them sexually, that it wasn't all that it was cracked up to be, all right? Now, to their friends and family, she got them thinking the sex was great. But in reality, it wasn't. But the attachment comes from the giving of herself. Again, this is kind of going back to the investment physically. For some women, just laying down with that man, and we can look at it from a biological perspective, spiritual perspective, whatever. However you want to break it down, the reality is that for many women, the simple act of having sex with him can create an attachment to him, all right? And the sacrifice that you made in giving yourself, especially continuously giving yourself to a man when it wasn't that great. So let's highlight that for a second. That makes it, I don't want to say that makes it even worse. That contributes to an even stronger attachment in the sense that you feel as a woman, damn, I sacrificed my pleasure because I wanted to keep this man in my life so bad, and still this man, it didn't work out, or he let me go, or I had to whatever the reason is. Your struggle to let him go, again, comes from you gave so much to him, and sex could be one of those things. But then there is the dynamic of the sex is good, that he may satisfy you in a way that other men don't, or other men have not. All right? And this now creates an unhealthy attachment to this man. But what you have to understand is that if he's not best for you, it's not sustainable. All right? If he's not truly best for you, there's not a real connection there, then what you're experiencing may actually be fool's gold. Now, I'm not saying no situation isn't actual good sexual experience, but what I can tell you, for a lot of women, sometimes that good sex is actually you enjoying being desired. That good sex is you enjoying the intimacy that comes afterwards from it. That good sex is you enjoying having a man in your life. And so what I'm saying to you is that it's not that the actual sex is good. It's the thrill of it. It's what the other energies that it brings to you. It's the other aspects that you're able to feed off of that makes the whole totality of it more enjoyable. But if you literally removed these other things and it was just sex with this man, it may not be that great. And again, I'm only providing this perspective to simply help those of you that need your eyes opened because you have mixed up or confused these things. You have allowed yourself to believe that sexually it's him sexually, and it's like, no, what's really going on here? And you gotta, again, get to the root of these issues if you're going to properly address and resolve them. And so now listen, again, I don't want you to beat yourself up over getting attached to him sexually and engaging with him in that way. I simply want you to, again, understand your struggle and also understand that sex alone cannot sustain you. So even if it's great sex with this man, if he cannot treat you the way you need to be treated otherwise, if he can't pour into you the way that you need otherwise, if he cannot provide you with an amazing relationship overall, then that great sex isn't worth it. And know that when you are with the right man, the sex will be way better. No matter how good you think it is with that dude, the sex is going to be way better, or it can become way better when you align yourself with the person you should be with. All right, so now the fifth reason why you can't get over him is because you don't believe better exists. So as I kind of mentioned with the sexual attachment, for many women, there becomes this belief that, well, this is the best you ever had. How can you really expect it to get better than this? And this happens romantically as well, or emotionally as well, with men, where I've seen women who've become attached to men because what they said to me was, he treated me better than anyone else. But what's important to understand about that was the bar was set low. So basically, this is a woman, or these are women who have gone through unhealthy relationships, sometimes very toxic, can be very abusive. And so now they meet this man who may not be for them, and for whatever reason, something's off, but he treats her better than those guys did. So where they treated her poorly, he treats her well. He's a genuinely good guy, maybe. But again, that doesn't mean he's the right guy. So good guy does not equal right guy for you. And because he's not the right guy for you, this is how we end up in a situation where you and that man will break up at some point. It's pretty much inevitable. And again, now you find yourself struggling to get over him. But you got to understand that there is better for you. And if you are a believer in God, God is not trying to set you up to settle. All right? And let me be very clear about settling. Settling isn't, from my perspective, it is not when someone, let's just say a woman says, I want a man who is 6'2", makes 150 grand, no kids, loves his mother, and I don't know, jumps out of airplanes. I don't know why that came to mind. Anyways, the point is, all right, she has her list of things that she desires, right? And then she meets a man who's 5'10", makes 80 grand, has a kid, scared of airplanes, right? But the connection is like no other. The love is like no other. There's so much there. Her embracing that man, you embracing that man who fell short of your list, does not qualify to me as settling, okay? Because he may not have everything you wanted, but he has everything you needed, all right? Whereas that other guy on the list may have given you everything you wanted, but trust and believe that relationship would have fell short anyway. So when I say God does not want you to settle, I am saying that, yes, it may not look like the package that you have painted in your head. It may not be everything that you wrote down on your list, however, depending on what the list is. However, it is going to still be a man who can make you happier than any other man can make you. It will be where you can have your most successful relationship. It will be where you can find true fulfillment and peace, all right? And that is what you should be striving for. So you've got to understand that, yes, better does exist in regards to your happiness, your peace, love, connection, communication, all of these things. It is there waiting for you. But you've got to understand that by not believing it exists, you create an attachment to your ex. you make it more of a struggle. And if you are one of those women who have had an ex tell you you will never find anything better, rebuke that. Okay? Rebuke it immediately. Like, do not accept such nonsense coming out anyone's mouth. Like, listen, if he is not the one God says is for you, then better exists. And the quicker you are to embrace that, the quicker you will be to being able to free yourself from your ex and set yourself up to receive who is truly best for you. All right, so now let's get to number 6, but real quick, be sure to get your copy of Love After Heartbreak. If you are struggling to get over an ex, if there is past hurt that needs to be resolved, this book is going to help you with healing from everything. Be sure to get your copy. Click the link in the description or the comment section, or go to loveafterheartbreak.com. So the 6th reason why you struggle to get over him is because you are fighting how you feel, not resolving it. So I'm going to make this quick. What I have seen, the mistake I have seen many women make is either trying to distract yourself from how you really feel, or beating yourself up because you keep thinking about him. Why aren't you over him? And what happens is those actions, more specifically the beating yourself up, is like fighting in a net, all right? Or fighting in quicksand. The more you fight, the deeper you sink. So when you fight how you feel, you continue to put that man at the forefront of your brain. You actually make it harder for you to move forward and to release him from your spirit and from your mind. So don't fight it, all right? But also understand that the whole distracting method, it may seem better on the surface. A lot of you run to dive into your kids or into work or into extracurricular activities, whatever, in order to not think about this person and not dwell on the situation. But all you're doing is masking the issue. You don't resolve it. And then what happens is, when maybe you see him or something on social media is posted, something happens that triggers you, it pulls it all to the surface, and now you're a wreck. So you don't do yourself any favors by fighting it or trying to distract yourself from it. You've got to accept there's nothing wrong with still feeling love for an ex. There's nothing wrong with you needing time to fully get over him or the relationship. Don't dwell in the misery of the struggle. Just embrace the process of moving forward and making progress in the situation. So in essence, all right, be able to say, yes, I still have love for him, or I still love him, but I understand he's not best for me, or I still love him, but it's just not time for us right now. Because again, timing could be an issue, and we're going to highlight that in the 7th reason. But whatever it is, accept it. Accept how you feel, but don't react to how you feel. So the problem isn't that you feel a certain kind of way. The problem is when you let how you feel in a moment drive you to take actions that are not in your best interest. When you allow you thinking about him to think, well, let me call him, let me text him, let me show up at his job. Some of y'all may have done it, all right? Like there's different things that people do when they struggle with this. Don't react. Accept, process. If you're a believer, pray, and just move forward, focusing on where you should put your energy. Because the difference between a distraction and focusing on the right things is that distractions can sometimes be unnecessary things added to your life in order to, again, not accept what your reality or what you're struggling with. Putting your energy into other things is going through a process of acknowledging, what do I need to be working on right now? What should be a priority, and putting my energy in that. So it's a more fruitful thing when you focus your energy on the right things versus just trying to find a distraction. But yes, don't fight how you feel, accept it, and do what's truly best for you. Last but not least, the 7th reason why you can't get over him is because you do have a genuine connection with him. So listen, the first 6 reasons I really was focusing on situations where he's truly not best for you. And that honestly, that breakup is a blessing, and you have to see this as an opportunity to move forward and onto a path where you can get the blessings that you truly deserve. But we can't ignore the fact that sometimes the struggle is because something real exists, because there is real love, because there is real connection. But for various reasons, you can't be with this person right now. Whether it be something that you're struggling with, whether it be them not being able to accept how they feel and what needs to happen here, whatever the case may be, we have to understand that I believe personally, when there's a true connection, you cannot destroy it and you can't create it. It's either there or it's not. And so when connection is there, we don't lose how we feel about that person. We don't, can we get over it in the sense of we can still function in life and live a healthy life and move forward? Absolutely. So I don't want you to think that just because there's a genuine connection that you can't live a full life right now despite you not being able to be with that man. But the idea that the feelings will just go away, I think that's an unreasonable expectation to put on yourself. All right? And so that goes back to point number 6 of accepting how you feel, but understanding where you are in life right now. Understanding that, yes, it might be right person, wrong time. This does happen for various reasons. People still need to heal. People need to go through their own process. You may have been able to cross paths with this man in order to see what is waiting for you down the road. But as a reminder that you need to prepare in the meantime. Because if it's not happening right now, then that means there are things that both of you need to be doing. Both of you need to be focused on your personal growth, your healing, all the things that will set you up for success when the time possibly comes for you two to be together. Now, again, when I talk about connection, I believe it to be a spiritual event or a spiritual occurrence. So it's important that I say to you, you have to talk to God about this. You've got to allow God to lead you in this situation and to verify with God, is this connection one that is true and this is the person that really is for you, but right now it's just not time? Because I don't want someone to watch this and misinterpret what they feel as connection and hold on to something that is not best for them. So again, we've got to go back to praying and as a woman, trusting your intuition, going deeper from within and understanding that by healing from your past, you not only prepare yourself to have a successful relationship going forward, but you will allow yourself to see things more clearly. All right? But ultimately, the struggle to get over him, again, it's normal. It's okay. You're human. Just shift your focus on what you need to do to set yourself up for success in every area of your life. Hey, thank you for watching this video. Be sure to check this one out right here, and I'll see you there. I can just look at some relationships and know immediately those two people don't belong together. And sometimes looks can be deceiving, right? Not in the sense of me getting it wrong, but in the reality that sometimes it looks good on the surface,